Welcome into the show, everybody. I am watching the college football playoff rankings being revealed live. So you're getting my live reaction to the new top 25. Here we go. 25, Arizona State, Tulane 24, Houston 23, Missouri 22, and Illinois 21. Got to throw this out there. Illinois being 21 might be the crime of the century. These are five non-ranked teams all now being in the top 25, ladies and gentlemen. That is insanity. That means at least five teams dropped out of the top 25. Here we go. 20 is the Tennessee Volunteers, Virginia at 19, no movement there, Michigan at 18, no movement there, and they do have the Texas Longhorns ahead of the Michigan Wolverines at 17, and then Georgia Tech is still there at 16. So USC has now moved above Georgia Tech with their win over the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's not totally shocking there, ladies and gentlemen. Not super shocked by that at all. But Texas at 17, I think that is similar to where I had them in my own rankings. So I don't hate that. I probably would have had them behind a Michigan. So the committee is showing us that they don't really give a crap about Michigan right now, ladies and gentlemen. They couldn't care less about the Wolverines. And the only way they even get into this playoff is if they miraculously beat Ohio State to end the season. Tennessee at 20 still is a little shocking to me. That might be a little high to me. I'm not sure I would really even have Tennessee ranked right now. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. USC does move up to 15 there, like we just discussed. Iowa, again, not a bad football team, but they're not a good football team. Look, at some point when you lose 4 games close, at some point, you're just a bad team, okay? When you don't know how to win, when you cannot win, when all you do is lose close, you just at some point do not know how to win, okay? Vanderbilt there at 14. There is no movement from the Commodores there. They didn't do anything last week, so that is not shocking at all. At 13, I'm going to assume it's probably going to be Utah. No, Miami. Miami right there at 13. The Hurricanes moving up 2 spots with their just shellacking of NC State. That I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. The Hurricanes, they are course correcting very quickly on the Miami Hurricanes. I believe they were 18 or 19 when the rankings first came out. So it's not shocking to me that they would end up rising when it was a shock that they were that far behind a Notre Dame and even Vanderbilt and several other teams. So it's not a big shock that they're now starting to rise a little bit. At 12, I'm thinking that's probably going to be the Houston, not Houston. That's probably going to be Utah at 12. Yep, Utah at 12 there, ladies and gentlemen. I like that spot for Utah. Look, they continue to play good football right now, but they are going to be the first team out. If the rankings were today, they would be the first team out of the playoffs, and BYU right there would be the second team out of the playoffs. That is exactly where I have BYU and Utah in my rankings, so I agree with the committee here. And for the most part, I agree kind of with what they've done so far in the top 25. I, for one, would maybe have a James Madison in the rankings down at the bottom instead of a Tulane, but they think, hey, Tulane is their biggest G5 team. Alabama at number 10. That's right where I thought they would come in. What we're going to look here is this going to be Oklahoma or is this going to be Notre Dame? Okay, so if they put Oklahoma here, they don't really care about what Oklahoma has done so far, and they still think what Notre Dame has done up until this point in the season is more impressive than Oklahoma. So it's going to be interesting to see where they put Oklahoma. This was the committee's 4th team in their rankings that Oklahoma just went on the road and beat. So it's going to be, if they put them here, Oklahoma's going to have to fight and claw to host a playoff game. But if they are at number 8, you can get, there it is, Notre Dame at number 9. Notre Dame at number 9, ladies and gentlemen. That means Oklahoma would be hosting a playoff game if they were to win out. I agree with that. I agree with that decision to put Oklahoma above Notre Dame. I think their wins are better than Notre Dame. Even those last 2 wins, even the win against Michigan as a collective whole is better than all of the wins that Notre Dame has combined to this point in the season. They have the win against USC. That's a good win. But other than that, okay, Pitt's your second best win. We need to pump the brakes on how high we put Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish in the rankings. Now, is OU going to be 8 or are they going to be above Oregon? They are not going to be above Oregon. So the committee still somehow respects Oregon for playing literally nobody and beating literally nobody. So I for one, look, Oregon didn't lose, so I guess, It's okay that they didn't put OU above Oregon, but I I would put OU above Oregon because I believe OU's done more in the win column than Oregon has. The wins for Oregon right now are Iowa. That's their best win. And then their second claim to fame is losing to Indiana by 10 at home. So I'm still not with Oregon being all the way up there at 7 right now. But it's a small gripe. It's a small gripe. So we would get Oklahoma, Notre Dame in the playoffs right now, and then Oregon, Alabama in the playoffs right now. Ooh, baby, how incredible would that be? I think Ole Miss is going to be 6 if the top 6 didn't change, other than Alabama falling out, unless they somehow drop Texas Tech. No, yeah, Ole Miss is 6, and then the top 5 will be Texas Tech at 5, Georgia at 4, A&M at 3, Indiana at 2, and Ohio State at 1. Just have to wait for them to put it up there. So all of those top 9 teams, you win out, you're in the college football playoff. Even Alabama, you win out, you're in the college football playoff. So we're really fighting for 2 spots that would go to the ACC champ or Tulane as it stands right now. So that is the thing with the rankings this year. It is BYU. BYU's 11 right there, ladies and gentlemen. They are currently, if we just did 1 through 12 and didn't do all the champions and whatnot, and here and there, champion gets in here, champion doesn't get in here. If we just did straight 1 through 12, the Big 12 would get 3 teams in. Right now, with these rankings, how they do it, we are not going to get 3 teams from the Big 12. We would only get 1 because Texas Tech, we are assuming they are going to win the Big 12. That would knock BYU and Utah out because Miami is there at 13. And then the Tulane Green Wave are down there at 24. So not super shocking from what the committee has done tonight. I think it makes sense. Maybe the most shocking thing is still having Texas above the Michigan Wolverines, even though I think that would be kind of similar teams in my mind. Solid defenses. But here's the bracket they just threw up here. We get Tulane traveling to Texas Tech, Notre Dame going to Norman, Oklahoma, Miami going to Oxford, Mississippi to play Ole Miss, and then Alabama heading to Eugene, Oregon in the first round. Ooh, baby. And then Ohio State, again, the 1 seed continues to be disastrous. They would play Oklahoma or Notre Dame in the second round. And then if they were to make it to the third round, they would play Texas Tech or Georgia, where that bottom half of the bracket, you have Texas A&M and Indiana, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oregon, and Miami. Hey, sign me up for this. I think Tulane can have a bigger fight than a USF would have had the other week there as well. But just having the 24 seed in the playoffs is kind of disappointing, ladies and gentlemen. If we've got to come up with a system where this is not how we do it. And I get it. The G5 is not going to agree to a playoff system where they are not getting a bid in the college football playoffs. And I get that. And maybe we just do that and we just do it without them. Maybe we just do it without them because we would be kidding ourselves. Boise State was different last year. Cincinnati a few years ago was different. Okay, they had quality wins against high-level competition. So with that in mind, we can look at Tulane this year and say, hey, oof, this is really what we're going to go with. But hey, we would get Tulane down there with Tulane. It was formerly BYU with Jake Retzloff, but now he's Tulane down there in New Orleans. I would be all over this college football playoff, even that Texas Tech Tulane game. I would still probably heavily favor Texas Tech in that one with just their defense. But the Notre Dame to Norman, Oklahoma game, that would be absolute cinema. Alabama travels to Eugene, Oregon. Oh, baby. Can you get any better than that? And then we have maybe the lackluster first round playoff game other than Tulane and Texas Tech. Kind of the third of those 3 other key matchups would be Miami going to Oxford, Mississippi. You can sign me up for that 10 times out of 10. I feel like the committee continues to do a pretty good job this year. Again, I might have a North Texas or James Madison in the playoff instead of a Tulane right now. But for the most part, I like what the committee's done here, and they continue to do a better job this year than they have in seasons past. So credit to the committee. Credit to the committee for doing what they're doing. And if you are listening on YouTube, you already seen the rankings, on social media behind me here. So This was just my live reaction. Boom, I see it. I tell you what I'm thinking. And again, maybe the most shocking thing is Texas being above Michigan, and that to me is not super shocking. And then 21 through 25, all being five unranked teams, boom, popping into the top 25. Illinois at 21 is a travesty against humanity. You have two losses by a combined 50 something points. Okay, no, 72 points in two of your losses. I don't think that deserves anywhere near being in the top 25. But if my gripes are teams down there 21 through 25, then I think we're okay. Okay, if you start having gripes in the top 15, that's where we get a little wonky, a little herky jerky with the college football playoff rankings. But if we are griping about 21 through 25, hey, I'm okay with it. I get it. I understand it. Whatever. But that's probably my biggest gripe. I think they've done a solid job for the week 13 rankings. Now, let's jump into the picks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on the heels of those playoff ranking reveals, now I have to do my game picks for every single top 25 team, starting with an absolutely huge game for college football playoff implications with Oklahoma hosting number 23 Missouri, I believe now, and Oklahoma is a top 8 seed. So if they want to host that playoff game right now, scheduled it against Missouri, they need to beat the Missouri Tigers. In this one, the gut is telling me Missouri to cover, but I will take Oklahoma to win in that one. Ohio State playing the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Look, Ohio State has just obliterated everybody, and it's going to continue again. Give me Ohio State minus 31.5. That's a lot of points. Don't love taking that. Texas A&M, no line there against Samford, but we will take Texas A&M to win outright. Miami at Virginia Tech. Ladies and gentlemen, 17.5 for Miami right now. That is a lot of points. Now, is James Franklin already on campus? Is he already coaching the guys up? Is he already getting to know his new players that he may be coaching next year with him becoming the new head coach of Virginia Tech? Is he doing anything already on campus? I'm not sure if that's illegal or not. Either way, Virginia Tech's no good. I'm going to lean Miami there at minus 17.5. And then Arizona State at Colorado. Look, I just don't trust the Colorado Buffaloes right now. Arizona State sneaking into the top 25 there as well. But I'm going to take Arizona State minus 7.5. Maybe a mistake, maybe not, with Sam Leavitt not being the guy anymore with Jeff Sims at the helm there for the Arizona State Sun Devils. However, playing sneaky good football is Jeff Sims. Give me Georgia minus 43.5 hosting Charlotte. Look, that's a lot of points. I trust Georgia to score a lot of points, and I trust their defense to not give up anything against the Charlotte Miners there. Alabama against the nobodies. Then we got USC at Oregon, maybe the biggest game of the weekend, this one, and Oklahoma hosting Missouri for playoff hopes, playoff implications. 10.5 was my gut reaction to, what was my gut reaction to 10.5 for Oregon? That's a lot of points. That is a lot of points. And now, normally, sometimes when that happens, you're thinking, they're trying to bait me into thinking, take USC plus 10.5. If they get you thinking that seems like too many points, then they know what they're doing and they're wanting you to take USC plus 10.5. And I am going to do that. I'm going to do what they want me to do. It may come back to bite me. It may be a big mistake, but I'm going to take the Trojans plus 10.5. I still think Oregon will get it done. Give me Notre Dame minus 35.5. The Fighting Irish, give me Notre Dame to win that one by more than 35.5 against the Syracuse Orange, who are just injured. Okay. In Arkansas, traveling to Austin, Texas to play the Longhorns there, who dropped to number 17, I believe, if I remember correctly. I'm going to take Arkansas plus 8.5 there. If you watch the upset alerts later on in the week, that is one of the games on there. Next up, folks, Kentucky goes to Nashville to play the Vanderbilt Commodores. Maybe one of the best stories in college football this year is Vanderbilt. They are on the outside looking into the playoffs. There's still a path for them to get in. They need a lot of, finagling and need a lot of teams in front of them to lose, but it can still be done. However, I'm going to take Kentucky to win this game outright. I'm going to take them to win this game outright. Maybe a swing and a miss, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to swing hard. We go for the fences here at the Fritts Show. Give me Utah minus 16.5. Give me Michigan minus 13.5. That was a sneaky one early on in the year with the way Malik Washington was playing quarterback there for Maryland. That was one where I would take the M's in Maryland over the M's in Michigan. But right now, I'm going to take the M's in Michigan minus 13.5. And give me the Pitt college football team to beat Georgia Tech on the road. Georgia Tech must win for them. Even if they lose, they can still carve out a path to get to the ACC title game. But we know what the committee thinks of Georgia Tech right now, folks. They don't think they're a very good football team down there at 16 with the one loss. If you're Georgia Tech right now, you need to win the ACC championship if you want to get into the playoffs. Tennessee at Florida, the swamp at night. I'm going to go with the Florida Gators on this one. Now, that Tennessee offense has a chance to score 50 points in this game and then run away with it, and then I look really dumb. But I'm going to side with that's not happening. I like DJ Lagway in this spot at home against that Tennessee secondary that is susceptible to big plays. So give me Florida to cover the 3.5 there. And then BYU on the road, I like them -2.5 against Cincy. I think Cincy may have given up on the season. Illinois, -7.5. I'm going to take Wisconsin +7.5. And that one, the gut was kind of pulling me in two different directions. But I went with the initial gut, which is what you try to do. Houston, -1.5 was the initial gut. And then the Tulane, Green Wave, my preseason G5 bid in the college football playoff. They are now the committee's G5 bid in the college football playoff rankings. So I'm going to take Tulane -7.5 up there in Philadelphia, city of brotherly love, ladies and gentlemen, city of the bell that has a crack in it. I'm going to take Tulane in Philadelphia -7.5 there. That is it for the game picks. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and drop down below and subscribe. And then at Ian Fritts Show on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Follow there as well. I love you guys. Bye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game.
25, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my